The email arrived on a gray Monday morning. Subject line, Restructuring Update. I sat frozen in my tiny apartment kitchen, staring at the words. The coffee in my mug went cold as I read and reread the lines that sealed my fate. Your position has been eliminated effective immediately. Please check your personal email for severance details. That was it. 5 years of dedication, staying late, covering for others, never missing a deadline. Gone with a template email. Are you kidding me? I muttered to the empty room. My voice cracked, a pathetic sound bouncing off the peeling walls. I closed the laptop and pressed my hands into my face, trying to steady my breathing. Rent was due in 2 weeks. Bills stacked up like bricks. And now nothing. But that wasn't the worst of it. Not by far. I opened my banking app out of reflex, like maybe I'd find comfort in numbers, in something solid. Instead, my breath stopped. Credit card balance, $8,400. At first I thought it was a glitch. My heart hammered as I refreshed the app 3 times. Same result. My hands went cold. No, what the hell? I hadn't spent that. I was careful, always careful. I rarely even used the card, except for groceries and emergencies. $8,400 was more than 3 months of my rent. Scrolling through the transactions, my stomach twisted. Plane tickets, resort charges, luxury dining, all in the last 2 weeks. All charged to my card. My throat tightened. I knew instantly. Only one explanation made sense. Family. For years, my parents had access to a linked account I'd set up in college. It was supposed to be for emergencies. I never cut them off, partly out of guilt, partly out of hope that they'd never take advantage. But there it was in black and white, resort charges from the Caribbean. Thousands gone. The phone felt heavy in my hand as I dialed Mom. It rang 3 times before her voice came through, light and airy, like she was on vacation, which she was. Hello? Oh, hey, sweetie. Her tone was cheerful, almost mocking in my ears. Mom, I said, my voice trembling. I just checked my credit card. There's over 8,000 charged. Resorts, flights, restaurants. Are you on vacation? For a moment, silence. Then a soft chuckle. Oh, honey, the signal's bad here on the island. Can you speak up? The island. My voice rose. You used my card. All these charges, it's my account. Did you seriously take a trip with Dad and use my money? Her tone shifted, colder, sharper. It's your card, not my problem. You should manage it better. I froze. That wasn't denial. That wasn't confusion. That was indifference. Mom, my voice cracked. I just lost my job. I don't even know how I'm going to pay rent. And you? She cut me off. We'll talk later, sweetie. Bad signal. Click. The line went dead. I sat there in silence, staring at the phone, my ears ringing. My own mother. My own family. Spending money I didn't have while I was drowning. And that's when the anger replaced the shock. It burned through me, steady and sharp. If they thought I was powerless, they were wrong. In minutes, I logged into the bank. I paused every account access they had, adjusted every linked card, locked down my finances. Their vacation was running on my dime, until now. Finally, I took one screenshot of the transaction history, one perfect image showing every dollar they drained, and I dropped it into the family group chat. I didn't write a word. I didn't need to, because in seconds, the typing bubbles appeared, and in less than a minute, their dream vacation began to collapse. The screenshot sat in the family chat like a bomb waiting to detonate. At first, silence, just the faint scene under my message. Then, the typing bubbles flickered to life. Dad, what is this? Why are you freezing accounts? We're in the middle of a trip. Me, that's my credit card. My debt. My future. You drain me. Mom, stop being dramatic. We'll sort it out later. You're embarrassing us. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Embarrassing them? As if I was the criminal here. Then my sister chimed in. Sophie, wait, did you really use his card? Mom, Dad, what were you thinking? Mom, stay out of it, Sophie. He's always overreacting. Me, $8,400, Mom. That's not overreacting. That's months of bills gone. And guess what? I lost my job today. The typing paused. For a moment, I thought maybe, finally, guilt would sink in. Maybe they'd realize what they had done. But then Dad replied, Dad, that's life, son. Family share. You'll find another job. We deserve this vacation after everything we've done for you. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. Deserved? What exactly had they done for me? Growing up, I'd worked since I was 16, paying for my own clothes, my own school supplies, even helping cover groceries when Dad's business ventures collapsed one after another. And now, when I was at my lowest, they were sipping cocktails on a beach with my money. I typed furiously. Me? Everything you've done for me? You mean leaving me to cover bills as a teenager? You mean borrowing money, just until next week, and never paying it back? This isn't sharing. This is theft. Another pause. Then Mom's reply, colder than ever. Mom, if you didn't want us to use it, you should have cut us off years ago. Don't act like the victim now. I felt my stomach twist. They knew. They always knew. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't confusion. It was entitlement. Sophie messaged again, her words fast and furious. Sophie, this is disgusting. He's your son. He just lost his job, and you're draining him dry. I can't believe you too. Dad's response was instant. Dad, watch your tone, young lady. We're still your parents. You don't speak to us like that. For a moment, the chat went dead. I could almost picture them sitting there in paradise, their fruity drinks losing flavor, the ocean breeze suddenly less sweet. Because they knew the money had stopped flowing. Then came the frantic messages. Mom, son, unlock the accounts. We need access, just until the trip ends. We'll figure something out when we're home. Dad, be reasonable. You can't just leave us stranded here. People are expecting us to pay. I stared at the screen, my chest pounding. A part of me wanted to laugh at the irony. Stranded? They had chosen this. They had stolen from me. And now, without my card, their perfect vacation was unraveling. I typed slowly, each word deliberate. Me, I'm not your bank. I'm not your backup plan. If you're stranded, that's your problem, not mine. Sophie reacted with a heart emoji. Mom left the chat a second later. That tiny notification hit harder than it should have. My own mother leaving the family group rather than facing what she'd done. Dad tried one last time. Dad, you'll regret this. Family is all you have in the end. I stared at his message, my anger simmering into something colder, sharper. Maybe he was right. Family is all you have, until they treat you like an ATM. I locked my phone, set it on the table, and exhaled for the first time in hours. Their paradise was collapsing, and for once, it wasn't me paying the price. But deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. Families don't take betrayal lightly, and my mind would come back with claws. The airport was only 40 minutes from my apartment, but it felt like another world. I knew they were back in town the moment my phone started buzzing with calls, unanswered calls, from both Mom and Dad. I ignored each one. By evening, there was a knock at my door. Not polite, heavy, demanding. I didn't move. I just sat on the couch, staring at the door, waiting for it to stop. But it didn't. Finally, Sophie's voice came through. Open up, it's me. I rushed to unlock it. Sophie slipped inside quickly, shutting it behind her. She looked exhausted, her hair tied back, her face pale. They're furious, she whispered. Good, I muttered. She shook her head. No, you don't get it. They spend everything. Hotels, excursions, God knows what else. When the card got declined, they had to beg the hotel manager for an extension until they could get home. They're blaming you for humiliating them. I laughed bitterly. Humiliating them? They stole from me. Sophie's eyes softened. I know. I've never seen Mom so cold, though. She said things on the flight, like you betrayed them. Before I could respond, another knock thundered against the door. This time, Dad's voice followed. Open the door, son. We need to talk. Right now. I froze. Sophie touched my arm. You can't avoid them forever. I exhaled and unlocked it. Dad pushed inside first, Mom right behind him. They looked nothing like vacationers. Their faces were hard, their clothes wrinkled, their eyes burning with frustration. Dad wasted no time. What the hell was that stunt? Freezing our accounts? Leaving us stranded? Do you realize what you put us through? My chest tightened, but I forced my voice steady. What I put you through? I lost my job, and the same day, I find my card at negative 8,400. You drain me, Dad. Mom folded her arms, her voice sharp. We needed a break. We've been under so much stress. You're young. You'll recover. But us? This was our chance to finally enjoy life. Sophie stepped forward. At his expense? He can't even pay rent right now. Mom shot her a glare. Stay out of this, Sophie. You don't understand what it's like to be our age. I snapped. No, I understand perfectly. You've always lived like the world owes you. Failed businesses, unpaid debts, and now you use me like your personal ATM. Not anymore. Dad's fists clenched. His voice rose. Watch how you speak to us. We are your parents. Without us, you wouldn't even be here. My anger boiled over. And without me, you wouldn't have had your little island getaway. Do you realize what position you put me in? I don't know how I'm supposed to survive next month. The room went silent, thick with tension. Then Mom's tone shifted, icy and deliberate. You wouldn't even have that card if it weren't for us trusting you enough to give us access. You should be grateful we included you in family finances. My mouth dropped open. Grateful? For being robbed? Sophie's voice shook as she said, "You can't twist this. It was theft, Mom. Plain and simple." Dad's face reddened. "Enough. You think cutting us off makes you powerful? You're nothing without family. Someday, you'll come crawling back." I took a deep breath, meeting his glare head-on. If family means bleeding me dry, I'd rather be nothing. Mom grabbed her purse, her lips pressed thin. "Fine. Don't expect us to help you when you fall even lower." They stormed out, the door slamming so hard the frame rattled. Sophie stayed behind, her eyes glassy with tears. "I don't know what's happening to them," she whispered. "It's like they care more about appearances than their own children." I sank onto the couch, my hands trembling. It's not like. It's the truth. And for the first time, I wondered, how far would they go to keep taking? The silence lasted barely 2 days. 2 days where I almost believed the storm had passed, where I focused on job applications and ignored the gnawing pit in my stomach. Then the phone calls began. Not from Mom, not from Dad, from everyone else. First, Aunt Carol. "Sweetheart," she said in her syrupy voice, "I just got off the phone with your mother. She's devastated. She said you locked her out of her own money while she and your father were overseas. Why would you do that? They nearly couldn't get home." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "Aunt Carol, it wasn't their money. It was my credit card. They ran it into negative thousands. I'm the one left with debt." A pause, then a sigh. "Well, she made it sound very different." Of course she did. By that evening, my phone was flooded with messages. Cousins, uncles, even my grandmother, all demanding explanations. "Grandma, you shouldn't disrespect your parents like this. They sacrificed so much for you. Uncle Ray, whatever the fight is, locking them out of money while they're traveling was cruel. They could have been in danger." I wanted to scream. Danger? They were at a luxury resort sipping cocktails. I typed back furiously to one cousin who accused me of being ungrateful. "Me, if your parents stole $8,400 from you, would you just smile and say thank you?" No reply. It hit me then. Mom and Dad were rewriting the story. They had painted themselves as victims, me as the cold, selfish son. And people believed them, because who questions the parents? That night, Sophie called, her voice tight with frustration. "They've been calling everyone, saying you're unstable, that you lashed out after losing your job. They're trying to isolate you." I clenched my fist. Of course they are. They can't admit what they did, so they'll drag my name through the mud instead. Sophie hesitated. I told them the truth. I told Carol and Grandma exactly what happened, but they just don't want to hear it. They keep saying, "Family matters stay private." Like silence is more important than honesty. Her words cut deep. That was always the family code. Keep things quiet, protect the image, never air dirty laundry. And now, it was being used as a weapon against me. 2 days later, Dad himself called. His voice was calm, almost rehearsed. "Son, listen. You can fix this. All you have to do is tell the family you overreacted. Say it was a misunderstanding, that you froze the accounts by accident. We'll forgive you." I laughed bitterly. "Forgive me? You put me in debt, humiliated me, and now you want me to apologize?" His voice hardened. "If you don't, you'll regret it. You're already losing support. Do you think anyone will help you now that you've turned them all against you? Jobs, references, even friends, family connections matter more than you realize." It wasn't a warning. It was a threat. After the call, I sat in silence, staring at the wall. The weight of it all pressed down, jobless, broke, and now branded the villain in my own family. But beneath the fear, something else stirred. Determination. They thought they could rewrite the narrative, but I still had the receipts. The screenshots, the bank records, every transaction that proved the truth. If they wanted a war of appearances, then maybe it was time the rest of the family saw what really happened. The question was I ready to scorch every bridge left? I didn't sleep that night. My phone buzzed endlessly with half accusations, veiled insults, and pitying words disguised as advice. By morning, I made up my mind. If they wanted to play this game in the court of family opinion, then I'd bring the evidence. I scrolled through my screenshots, the resort charges, the airline tickets, the endless string of restaurant bills. Line after line of my money evaporating into their indulgence. And at the bottom, the balance, $8 for 100. A perfect scar, carved in digital ink. At noon, I opened the family group chat again. My thumb hovered for a moment, trembling. Then I started typing. "Me. Since everyone seems to have an opinion, here are the facts. Attached are the transactions charged to my credit card, without my knowledge, while I was unemployed and struggling. This is the debt I'm left with. Tell me again how I'm the selfish one. I hit send. The screenshots followed, flooding the chat in crystal clarity. For a long moment, silence. Then, the responses began. Cousin Mark. Wait, this is real? Mom said it was just a small misunderstanding. Aunt Carol. This doesn't look good. Are you sure these weren't authorized? Me, authorized? By who? I never bought plane tickets to the Caribbean. I never dined at La Mar Azul for $600. They did. On my card. Sophie jumped in, her words sharp. Sophie, I told you all. He's not lying. They drained him dry and then blamed him for fighting back. The chat exploded after that. Emojis, shocked reactions, and long silences from people who'd been so quick to scold me days earlier. Finally, Grandma typed slowly. Grandma, your mother told me none of this. She swore it was her own account. I don't understand why she would lie. I stared at her message, my chest tightening. Because to Grandma, Mom was always the golden daughter, the reliable one. The idea that she could steal from her own child? Unthinkable. But now, undeniable. Then Mom reappeared. Mom, don't spread this nonsense. You're trying to humiliate us in front of the whole family. This is private. Me, no. It stopped being private the moment you weaponized the family against me. You wanted them on your side. Now they know the truth. Dad finally chimed in. Dad, this is betrayal. Turning your own family against us? You'll regret this for the rest of your life. But his words fell flat. One by one, relatives started sending quiet messages of support, some public in the group, others privately to me. Uncle Ray, privately, I'm sorry. I judged too quickly. If what you shared is true, then they went too far. Cousin Lila, good for you. I always thought they leaned on you too much. It wasn't everyone. Some stayed silent, unwilling to pick a side. But the wall of unquestioned loyalty my parents had always relied on was cracking. Later that evening, Sophie called again. Her voice carried a mix of relief and fear. You did it. They can't spin their story anymore. Everyone saw. I leaned back in my chair, exhaustion settling deep in my bones. Yeah, but this isn't over. You know how they are. If they can't win with lies, they'll try something worse. There was a pause. Do you think they'll ever apologize? I almost laughed, but the sound caught in my throat. No, people like them don't apologize. They retaliate. And as the night stretched on, my phone sat heavy in my hand, buzzing less now, quieter, but with every vibration, I knew the next move was coming. Because my parents weren't done, not by a long shot. The storm came 3 days later. I was heading back from another fruitless job interview when my phone lit up. A blocked number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Son, my father's voice. Low, controlled, dangerous. I tightened my grip on the phone. What do you want? You've made a fool of us, he said, his words sharp as glass. The family won't look at us the same. Your mother hasn't stopped crying. I bit down hard. She hasn't stopped crying? I'm the one buried in debt. I'm the one who lost his job. And still, you made it about yourselves. A pause. Then he lowered his tone. This can all go away. You unfreeze the accounts. Let us settle things our way, and we'll forgive your outburst. We'll even help you when you need it. I stopped walking, standing frozen on the cracked sidewalk. Forgive my outburst. You want me to give you back access so you can keep draining me? Do you even hear yourself? His voice sharpened. If you shut us out, you'll regret it. You'll have no one. Don't think Sophie can protect you forever. She'll choose family over you when the time comes. Something inside me snapped. Not anger, not even sadness, just clarity. No, I said quietly. She already chose truth. That's what family should mean. And you, my voice rose, trembling but firm. You've never acted like parents. You've acted like leeches. I'm done. Don't you dare, he started, but I cut him off. I'm blocking this number. I'm done with your games. If you try to use my name, if you try to ruin me again, I'll go beyond family chats. I'll go public. Every receipt, every dollar. You want humiliation? I'll give you real humiliation. There was silence. Then the line went dead. I stood there, my chest heaving, the city noise rushing around me. For the first time in weeks, maybe years, I felt something close to peace. When I got home, Sophie was waiting at my apartment. She looked at me, searching my face. Was it them? I nodded. It was the last time. She let out a shaky breath and sat beside me on the couch. You know this changes everything, right? There's no going back after this. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Good. I don't want to go back. The days that followed were quiet. Mom and Dad vanished from the group chat. The relatives who had doubted me before now tiptoed around the subject. Some embarrassed, some unwilling to admit they'd been wrong. And me? I kept applying for jobs, kept pushing forward. The debt was still there. The uncertainty still lingered. But the weight on my chest, the constant, suffocating fear of being drained again, was gone. One evening, Sophie brought dinner over. As we ate, she said softly, "You know, you could have just let them keep taking. Most people would have. It's easier to stay quiet." I met her eyes. Maybe, but silence would have destroyed me faster than debt ever could. She smiled faintly, raising her glass of water. "To new beginnings." I clinked mine against hers. And for the first time, I believed it.